Okay, so picture this. We've got this no-name musician, right? Struggling, barely making rent off their music, and then bam, they land a track on a major playlist, like the playlist. And everyone's going, who is this?
Yeah.
And their secret weapon. It's this AI music tool that everyone's whispering about.
Right.
HitCraft.
HitCraft.
You've heard the buzz, you've seen the headlines, and today we're diving deep.
Yeah.
Is HitCraft the real deal? Is it just hype? Or is it about to completely rewrite the rules of the music industry as we know it?
I think what's really interesting to me right off the bat is that it's not just like bedroom producers who are excited about HitCraft.
Right.
You're seeing seasoned pros, people who have been in the industry for years, really sit up and take notice. And that, to me, says there's something more to it than just being like a flashy new toy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And they're using this language of like democratizing music production, which, on the surface sounds great, right? But what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, I think about it this way. Traditionally, there have always been these barriers to entry in the music industry, right? Like, studio time is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You need connections to get your music heard. HitCraft is interesting because it claims to be able to sidestep all of that by giving you, essentially, studio-quality production tools that anyone can use. It's like having a world-class recording studio right there on your laptop.
So, okay, that makes total sense for somebody who's like just starting out, right?
Yeah.
But for somebody who's already established, who already has their system down, what does HitCraft offer them?
Well, that's where things get really fascinating because, I mean, you're right. If you're already a pro, you've got your workflow.
Yeah.
You've got your tools. But what HitCraft has done is they've taken decades of music software development, all those incredibly sophisticated tools, plugins, everything, and instead of replacing them, they've figured out a way to integrate and streamline them using AI.
So it's like HitCraft is like the conductor, and then all of those different pieces of software are like the instruments in the orchestra or something.
Exactly. It's like having this super-powered virtual assistant that understands musical theory, it understands trends, and it can help you as a producer test out different arrangements, different instruments, even different genres with lightning speed.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the power of this.
Yeah.
But then doesn't that also lead to the question of like, okay, but then are we just going to end up with all music kind of sounding the same if everybody's using these same tools, these same AI tools to write their music?
That's a really, really valid concern. It's something to watch out for, definitely. But one of the things that HitCraft keeps emphasizing is that their goal is to augment human creativity, not automate it away completely. So it's more about giving artists more control, more flexibility, not necessarily dictating every single creative decision.
So not taking the human out of it, just like adding to it.
Right, exactly. And I think that actually connects really interestingly to another one of their big claims, which is that they want to foster a more inclusive and innovative music scene.
And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because suddenly you have a situation where, at least theoretically, the playing field has been leveled a little bit.
Yeah.
Because now anyone who has talent, who has the drive, can potentially create something amazing, regardless of, like, their background or their resources.
Exactly. And we've seen this before in other industries, right? Think about, like, the indie film boom or the rise of self-publishing.
Yeah.
Technology has this history of coming in, disrupting the gatekeepers, and allowing for this kind of democratization of creativity. And HitCraft could be the next chapter in that story, which is really exciting.
So, okay, we've got this potentially revolutionary tool on our hands, and it's already making waves.
It is.
What's the big takeaway here? What should we be paying attention to in the coming weeks, months, years?
I think the real test is going to be seeing how artists actually use HitCraft out in the wild, Because it's one thing to talk about its capabilities, but what happens when it gets into the hands of, a million different creative minds?
Yeah.
Will we see this, like, explosion of new sounds, new genres?
Right.
Will it empower artists from communities that have been historically marginalized or underrepresented to finally have their voices heard in a really powerful way?
Right.
That's what's so fascinating about this moment.
Yeah.
We are on the cusp of potentially a major, major shift, and how it plays out is really anyone's guess.
It's exciting.
It's exciting.
So to everybody listening, keep your ears open because things are about to get really interesting.